morning, Pacific time. Those of you who are on the East Coast, maybe you're just waking up. Wait a minute, it's Saturday. Anyhow, hey, don't look at your smart device, phone, or computer. I have nothing to show you on camera again. Just listen to the audio. In today's topic, I want to talk about whether or not it's okay to cry on duty as a private security officer and even a police officer. Is this okay? Is this acceptable? I've been around a long time, and I will tell you that people react differently to different situations. Just because you cry, that doesn't make you a weaker man. It doesn't make you a weaker person. All it is just an emotional response on something. I know that there's a lot of people watching this and saying, well, when the time gets tough, when the situation is violent, it's saddening, I'm not going to cry because I'm a man. And I would say this, you don't know how you're going to react to a situation until you've been in these types of situations. Have I cried during a situation? I haven't. In both of my fields of work in security and police, I haven't cried while on the scene. And my suggestion to anybody that's getting into law enforcement, or maybe they've been in law enforcement, or maybe they are in private security, and they are cognizant about their emotional state during a stressful situation, my suggestion to you is just deal with the situation at hand. If there's something traumatic that you see and you're just standing there on the corner crying, you're not even an asset. You're a liability. And what I found is that if you're dealing with the situation already, you might have a tear in your eye or starting to get emotional, but you're dealing with the situation already. You're making it better for everybody. That is an asset. Don't be the liability. I've seen on rare occasions police officers become a liability. The situation was just too much to handle. I thought, dealing with some of these situations that I thought I'd seen the worst. And at that point in time, I was being crushed by these situations I was encountering. But the officer next to me stood up and started wailing in tears while the bystanders were trying to offer some help. Anyhow, that officer became a liability, not an asset. I've seen the toughest people cry, guys. You're talking about former combat veterans, your tenured police officers. I've seen it all. But what distinguishes them from somebody just crying, right, is that they're actively dealing with the situation. They're becoming an asset and not a liability. How do you prepare for something like this? How do you might be watching this and saying, hey, Sean, I know what you're saying. I have no control basically over my emotions, but like, what can I do? Because I don't want to appear like, I guess, the weak person who's not able to control their mental state, their emotional state. What can I do? Is there some training I can go to? Honestly, guys, there's not much that you can do. I'll give you a perfect example to physiological responses. If you guys have not read retired Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman's book on killing, you should. He has written a lot of books about the psychology of and physiological factors that affect performance during life and death situations. And there was some surveys done, and he researched our World War II vets. I mean, you think grandpa, right? I mean, there's not too many still around, but you might see them in Denny's, in the early mornings at a cafe. They have their World War II hats on, or maybe Korean hats, and they look tough, right? They're the tough generation. Same thing with Vietnam vets. Like you might see them again at Denny's or at the local place where everyone meets up for breakfast early in the morning. I don't know, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, whatever you have in your area. Well, what if I told you that many of them during combat defecated in their pants and they urinated? So you mean to tell me that they are weaker men than others because they defecated? Or they peed in their pants? If the argument is yes, then where were you when the United States needed you or your country needed you? Where were you? These guys, I know a lot of them were drafted, but once there, a lot of them, they wanted to serve their country. It's obviously a different time, but where were you? All I'm saying is you have no idea how you're going to react to these stressful situations. I can't talk about those who've been in Desert Storm or the global war against terror, because I haven't seen any recent studies on whether our men and women overseas have defecated or urinated in the pants during combat. I would like to see some studies on that, and if it's a rare event, what has the military done between World War II and the global war on terror? Like, what have they done differently so that doesn't happen? Now, I haven't seen any studies on that. It's Vietnam, and then World War II. I don't think World War I was included in those studies that Colonel Grossman talked about. But yeah, once again, when you have these physiological responses, like you have no control over. You think that those guys that see, that seen life and death right in front of them, you think that they have control over whether or not that they defecated or they cried? No, they don't have control over those situations. Once again, those out there who are criticizing, police, security, military for crying, once again, many of them have not been in those situations. And if they've been in those situations, they don't understand psychology. They don't understand the physiological response to stress. It's something that they remain ignorant to. Okay? So if you're preparing for any of the types of careers, I can't think of any technique that you can practice where that won't happen to you. And will it be embarrassing? Oh yeah, definitely it'd be embarrassing. I'll tell you other situations. So in domestic violence, when a woman or even a man is strangled, after a certain amount of time, they start losing control over their bodily functions. So it's very common when you're being strangled to defecate or urinate. And in my time in law enforcement and security, I never asked those questions because it's very important. Because if somebody is defecating or urinating while they're being strangled, you no longer just have an assault with a deadly weapon. What do you guys think the next charge is? The comment section box below. So somebody is starting to lose their bodily functions. They're urinating or defecating. What other charge should the prosecutor start considering? Well, the answer to that is attempted murder. Yep, attempted homicide. That's the next charge. And did that victim have control over their bodily functions? No, you don't. Once again, you do not have control. Let me go through the comments. Hey, Mr. Fusion's here. Are you serious? Guy like never sleeps. Oh my goodness. Hey, so Mr. Fusion is a member of our membership. I think he's a part of the Sergeant Special only. Guys, if you guys have questions about anything, I tend to answer those questions a lot faster if you are on the members only section. I'll answer questions anywhere on the other videos, but I do give priority to those. Anyhow, Mr. Fusion says, everyone has a breaking point. I've got sick and tired of being cursed out by supervisor over the stupidest things, such as accidentally taking the wrong radio. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. I mean, had you known that you have taken the wrong radio, wouldn't you put it back? Obviously, yes. And come on, these situations, it's like a traffic ticket, okay? A cop pulls you over and then starts reprimanding you, like in front of your family and everybody else, right? Has that ever happened to anybody? Well, instead of doing that, just write the ticket. So if you're continuously taking the wrong radio, just write Mr. Fusion up. Hopefully his supervisor isn't watching this. But seriously, like, don't you think it's more appropriate to have a document that where you get to read about yourself, that's called the write-up, right, than just being verbally reprimanded? Yeah, come on. He also says, got to the point I broke down. Imagine being youngster, suddenly working with a bunch of negative older people. Eventually I turned like them, not giving a shit about anything. Yep. And that's the thing, is like, you said you broke down, right? If you had control over your emotional state, would you have broken down? No, you wouldn't have. You have no control over that. It just happens. He also says, best part of higher ups defend them with a, what if you were stressed out as supervisor? Like, I'm going to treat my guys like that. Yep. Jack Spade says, I cry when I see my paycheck vanish, right? What was I going to say? Yeah, hey, so if you see yourself or you feel yourself going to that emotional state where you're about to cry or something like that, again, just remain objective. Remain objective to what you're supposed to be doing. I got some crazy, some stories that I got wrecked, guys, for like 14 years because of situations I've handled in my job. 14 years. It took me 14 years. And then you would think after some of these situations, like, that's it in my career. All of a sudden I get hit with like 2 more situations that wrecked me more. Did I stand over there and cry? No. Again, you're a liability. Be the asset and work your way around that emotional state. And then afterwards, sit in your car, wherever it is, and let the emotions roll. J.A., hey, good morning. I know I'm on YouTube a lot. I'm cleaning, and then I'm out pool day. Nice. Awesome. So, guys, make sure you watch this video to its fullest. Once again, the toughest people out there, like, I've been in closed doors with them, and they've hit rock bottom. Their emotional state, like, I never seen them like this wreck before, and it happens. But you have to deal with the situation at hand. Don't let anybody tell you, like, hey, you know what, this person is crying, therefore they're not fit for the job. That has nothing to do with their work performance. As long as you're performing out there and the situation is just overwhelming, again, work through it, fight through it, and at the end, just let all your emotions ride at the end of the day. All right, guys, so I am about to head over to do something right now. I'll let you guys go. Looking forward to the comments below. If you guys want to talk about an encounter where you kind of hit rock bottom and you were feeling that emotional state starting to take over, we like to hear about it, but I know a lot of people don't want to talk about it. But if you are able to, it will help. It will help people understand that they are human and these things happen.